The gift that keeps on giving and how you can help more people with minimal effort this year. Happy New Year. I'm Mario Ficini and welcome to the Mario Ficini Show. We're going to be talking about how you can leverage your time and your expertise and truly give the gift that keeps on giving. So this was inspired by me it wasn't inspired by me, it was inspired by Jael. And I'm very appreciative for her because it was totally unexpected. And if you're on my email list, you may have seen the email earlier today. And if you're not, play nice and maybe I'll tell you how you can get on it. But do you ever think about what you're doing? I mean, really think about what you're doing, not just how you're doing it. Do you ever think that if I do it this way, it's going to take 10 hours. If I do it that way, it's going to take 20. And if I do it this way, it's going to take 4. And all things being considered, regardless of the time, the end result is the same. Or do you just arbitrarily go about doing things because that's the way you've always done them? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's good to have a pattern and a routine, especially if it's a daily success habit. But it's also good to think about, and as Joe Polish says, if you want to have a breakthrough, you have to break something. So what is it in 2018 that you're going to just completely shatter and break? And I have a few of my own preconceived notions, and I was sharing them the other day on my personal page. One of them had to deal with hashtags. I just thought that they were jokes. I thought it was, I knew if you said, can you search them out and do different things like that? I knew it logically in theory, but I had never really cared enough to apply it. Why? I don't know. I was just focused on other stuff. But turns out if you put hashtag business, people can search out business or business tips. So who knew? But it leads me, and I'm not here to talk about that. That was just one of my breakthroughs in the last 24 hours. The other one comes from Jael. She was a nice woman in the audience when I was speaking a few weeks ago. And, afterwards, everyone always comes up and says, I want to get a copy of your book. And, she bought one. I signed it. It was great. And I saw, if you look just below here, I wonder if I can get this on here. But it was such a surprise. I popped on Facebook and there was this picture and she had tagged me and it says, it was a quote from my book and it says, you are my favorite person of the week, expert authority effect, hashtag read that book. And then she tagged her book club and she was saying that it should be our next read. And I really appreciate that. And it inspired, the email and the message and what I wanted to share with you here today, because what are you doing? Where is it? What are you doing? Do you have a hardcover copy of a book? Is it printed? Do you have videos? Where is your knowledge and expertise at? I'm not even get into the how. I just want to know, do you even have anything, or is everything in your head? I know it's in your heart. Maybe it's you share it and it's in your head, but if you want to take it to the next level, how do you get it out of you? Now, there could be some fears and doubts and reservations. We all have them. If I learned anything in 2017, it was definitely that there are some things that I was holding on to from years ago that made no difference whatsoever. And there were other things that I realized I was actually about 10 years ahead of where I thought I was. It just never been revealed to me. And I go, this is cool. So there were some things that I had to break down, and other things that I thought I was working towards, I'd already had for years. I just didn't believe it because of whatever self-conscious reason. One of them always comes back to the book. And when I did my first one back in 2012, it says right here in the dedication, I know it says it because I wrote it. I was literally sitting here crying. Leadership team, dream big, take actions, have a blast doing it. That's good advice. Never apologize for being you. Well, in the book here, I talk about sitting here crying. It's in the beginning in the dedication. And I was, because I had been working on it for a few months. And I was thinking, who wants to hear what I have to say? Who's going to read this? What if no one buys it? What if it doesn't make it to bestseller? I failed English 7 times. Now I'm publishing a book. I had friends that were the valedictorian 4.0, 4.2. They wanted to actually write a book. And I finished, they had been thinking about it for years. And I did mine in just over 2 months without really knowing what I was doing. If you were to ask me how I went about it now, the only thing I could tell you is I just kept working on it. I set the goal, and I always hit my goals. So I knew it was going to get done. I just kept working on it. I mean, there was some rhyme or reason, but it was nowhere near as concise as my 8-week training masterclass is now. It was not. I just kept working on it and had my graphic designer working on the cover in tandem. And I think that's what inspired me. I mean, it looks good, doesn't it? Custom design. Can't buy it anywhere. God love it. And thanks, Carrie, by the way. I just kept working on it. But all these thoughts are going through. You failed English. You were never good in school. You were never good. All these things. And I was like, you just have to shut them up. But, you know, that's all well and good until it's the night before you're publishing. And I said, I'm going to take one look at the table of contents and then hit the publish button. And it was supposed to be about 5 or 10 minutes. 3 hours later, I was literally sitting here shaking. And every ounce of emotional anything just came up, and it's a very emotional spiritual process, and I encourage everyone to go through it, because if you think you know yourself, you don't. You're still hiding from something, and I love getting people past it, transforming you and your business so you can make a greater impact. And that's what this is about. You know, today's day 3, and I'm starting the Expert Authority Challenge every day. It's, you know, going to be bringing stuff to you so you can impact more people, because my goal by 2020 is to help 1,000 people reach 1,000 new people with their message, have a reach of 1 million impact. And that really excites me. And so I was like, what can I really add value to your life with today? And it was a no-brainer. I have all kinds of stuff I could do. I could probably fill out the next 6 months with just what I already have. But the other thing is, we're content creation machines. We have hearts, we have desires, we have joys, we have failures, and you get to share these experiences with people. And the entire time you're doing it, you get to have fun in the process. And I literally just saw this message and was like, there it is. Thank you, God. There's another confirmation that I'm going on the right course. I don't have all the answers. I never did. But if there's one thing I got right, it was just you keep going. And I used to look at people going, they have so much more than me. If I just had this, if I just had that, if I just had that, you know, let's fill in some blanks. If I just had their money. I didn't start off with $500,000 in the bank. I was in freaking high school, in college. I had desire, though. And then I go, well, if I had their time, I was working a lot of places. If I had their resources, if I just had their family, if I just had this, if I, you know, didn't have the car issues, whatever the case may be. But then those type of people started coming to me saying, hey, I want your coaching. I want your mentorship. I want your training. And the first 6 months was, you know, we're on the phone. They would call. And I'd look at it thinking, why the heck do they want my help? What can I do for them? Meanwhile, forgetting that I had 10, 15 years of knowledge and expertise in this area. Well, this is so second nature to me. It requires this much energy and thought. My brain goes all out here with all the other areas I'm trying to improve, which are mainly personal. Because the one thing I have done is grown my business consistently for wow, 16 plus years now. And that's where they were starting. So they were further ahead here. I was further ahead here. And one of the greatest things was being able to ask them, hey, what about this? What about that? And I remember one of my clients in Arizona, because money 15 years ago was like, man, what would I do? Like, I knew what to do. I just was like, how do you get it? And he goes, at some point, it just becomes a line item. He doesn't even think about it because he's built such a successful business for 40 plus years, 45 plus years. It was no longer a thing. Well, when I was in college and high school and just after, it was like, I'm just starting off. So no matter where you're at in life, there is something inside of you, but are you sharing it with the world is my question. The gift that keeps on giving is story. It's story. How in the world did the world grow without the internet? It's preposterous to think nowadays, isn't it? iPhone X, iPhone 5, iPhone 4, iPhone this, Samsung Galaxy that, tablets. I remember when it was like, I can't wait to be an adult and I can get a BlackBerry. And now they just deal with enterprise solutions. There was something I saw recently, and it said the top 10 things we use on a daily basis weren't even around a decade ago. And the internet's been around for over 20 now. But how did the world grow before that? The Industrial Revolution, the Renaissance era. How did the world continue to grow and progress? And despite what the media will tell you, the world is a place of abundance. There's no lack of resources. We have more than we ever have, and we're creating new ones all the time. Even natural resources. You think there's a shortage of water on the world? It's like over 73 or 2 or 5% water. There's no shortage of any of this. They just want you scared thinking there is, so you're dependent on them. And I read this quote from Henry Ford just today, and it said, if a man thinks the government is the answer to his problems, should really take a closer look to the American Indian. Amen. So now that you realize it's up to you, what are you doing for it and how are you progressing with it? So you were like me, you don't have the money getting started. Maybe, whatever happened. Maybe you don't have the family, maybe you don't have the resources. But if you have the heart and you have the ambition and you have the drive, all of this is far easier to get now more than ever. What I do know you have is a story, just like I did. But the question is, are you getting it out there or are you fearful for whatever reason? And if you are, it's totally cool because I've been there also. I'm not saying it to do anything other than get you thinking and maybe get your heart racing a little bit to get that energy up, because that's how you'll know if it's something that means something. If you're watching this and you're going, wow, he's very well spoken. He's more articulate than he was last month. That was a good show. Thanks. I appreciate it. But I'm speaking to you. I want you clenching your fist right now, maybe biting your lip. Are you a little bit pissed off and angry? Do you have a story? Is your heart racing? I'm speaking to you because I know I can tell you the times when I was having the breakthroughs and I was watching someone and I was yelling things out and banging my fist and saying things. I want it to be real for you because that will actually get some traction and things done. If you're enjoying the show and you're just looking at this as entertainment and you know what, you're just planting the seed and maybe 6 months from now, that'll be you. Hey, welcome. But if you're sitting there right now and you're going, you know what, it's the third day And really, nothing is different than last year. I do not want to repeat. I hope you're a little upset. I hope you're a little aggravated, and something inside of you is just waiting to burst out. That's who I'm talking to. And I love those conversations. And I could tell you every single one of my successful clients that went through my training, which is all of them, when they apply everything I tell them and listen, you'll see them in pictures, you'll see them in the emails, absolutely love them. I remember the conversation after they applied. I always get on the phone because I want to make sure they're a good fit and they're not going to bring down the quality of the other people in the group. And every single one of them, different stories, different backgrounds, different money, different families, different resources, different jobs, businesses, whatever the case may be, all had one thing in common. They knew where they were going and they had a burning desire to do it. And yeah, I'll be honest, I'm an instigator. I kind of like poking buttons because you either get turned on or turned off. And if you're a little bit edgy, and that's your breakthrough and it puts you into overdrive in the stratosphere and you accomplish more in the next week than you did all year, then you're welcome. I'm not apologizing for that. Absolutely, it's on purpose. And if you don't like that, because don't tell me what to do, I do whatever, I do what I want. Some people, there's only two things that happens. You either move forward and you enjoy it and say thank you, or you regress backwards. And I had in one of the recent speeches, talks, whatever, I was presenting to another audience in person. I'm now saying in person versus live because this is live. Afterwards, one of the people, again, wanted a copy of my book, signed it. Really nice to meet you. She goes, "You're good. You have a lot more confidence." Because there was someone else who said something, and as he was talking, he kept going backwards and dropping his tone a little bit. And I could see it. And I was like, I don't like putting people down. I like building them up. And maybe I was going to talk to him afterwards and just ask him, hey, what was the deal with this? An indirect way of, making it known, because a lot of this is driven by your subconscious. But someone in the audience came up to me, and it wasn't mean, but they just noticed it. And I was like, wow. I mean, I've taken trainings and years and studied and all kinds of stuff. Like I love reading body language and interacting live out in person, because we're live now, because there's so much communication that's nonverbal. And I saw it, and it wasn't going to ruin my day one way or another, but he was trying to sell something. And it was interesting. But when they said it when she said it afterwards, it was only one person, not the whole room, but they probably noticed it. She said it afterwards. I go, interesting. And I appreciated the compliment because I had been nervous as all get out. I felt nowhere near as confident as I do right this second. It was my first time speaking after a tumultuous personal life series of events. We'll leave it at that. And I was excited and thankful for the opportunity. I knew it would work itself out, but it worked out way better than anticipated, and it felt good. And I'm back. So yeah, with the professional speaking here, hey, thanks for that. The gift that keeps on giving story. I'm going to open this up for questions. I got to run shortly, but are you telling your real story? Are you telling your true story? Or are you telling the story you think people want to hear? Are you lying to yourself? Are you lying to everyone else around you? If something's not going the way you think it should be, it's probably something internal. I've noticed. And there's been times where, my clients come into the training call, on our weekly training call, and I always have everyone introduce themselves and, share their win for the week. And within about 5 seconds, you can hear by someone's tone if they're excited or not. Flat out, open honesty and transparency. Go to my videos in the past. This one, I will tell you, I'm a lot more energetic and confident than, I don't know the exact date, but there was one in December when I was less. And there's one in November when I was probably much less. And then there was another one where I was probably even more than this. I don't know. This is pretty good. But the point is, all these things that are going on had nothing to do with my knowledge and expertise in the area. It had everything to do with what was going on personal. And I heard people and I go, hey, what's going on? And I never put people on the spot unless I know they can handle it or if they want to, or I ask them if they want to volunteer. But there's a few times right after I just picked up the phone and I was like, hey, what's going on? And then they open up. And if you think that not showing emotion and not showing that you care is like cool, or it makes you more of a leader or more of a man or more of a woman, all you're doing is you're not relating to the other 99% of people that do show emotion, and it makes you less of one because they think you're more closed off, when really you just locked yourself inside the house and you're suffering on your own. It's not going to disappear overnight either way, no matter if it's business, personal, or whatever. But whatever the issue is you're facing, you at least have people that show they care and can help to the best of their ability. Just the sheer fact that you have people that will care, that will help. But if you close yourself off, there's an energy flow. And when it comes to business, you will not attract people to you to make nice and friends in a personal, with family or personal or whatever. But in business, people will think you're trying to do some crazy stuff, like shady stuff. If we're talking over lunch and, hey, we're related, we're family. Hey, what's up, fam? It's cool. Hey, how's it going, cuzzo? Or, it's a friend. Hey, good to see you in the last decade. What's going on? They'll sense a vibe that something's off, but they're not really thinking you're trying to scam them. They're not trying to think you're trying to screw them over. And if you want to talk about personal issues that are unresolved, you know how many people, the sheer fact that someone owns a business and is an entrepreneur, they've probably been through the ringer and back at least a dozen times, at least once a year. At least once a year, probably 3, 4, or 5, and the severity of it will differ. So if you know someone's been in business for 1 year, 2 year, 5, 10, whatever, the longer they have, just realize there's a mountain of stuff they've been through that may or may not be resolved, even if they're past it. Even if they look like everything's together, there's never been anyone that I've met that there isn't something I can't help them with. Maybe they're good with the leads and they're good with the sales and the closing. Some people, that's a big problem. Other people, it's the internal operations. Sometimes it's them. I don't know where you're at on the spectrum, but I'm here to help you. I'm going to help you. And that's why I'm talking about all this, because so many people are just fixated on Facebook, LinkedIn, shiny object syndrome number 1, 2, 3,000. But they haven't resolved that thing from when they were 12 or 15 or 18 or college or the first year of business when they lost their shirt and, the courts took it. Been there, over it, moving on. What about that time they were under an NDA and someone screwed them over and then they had to willingly turn away 12 projects because they wanted to honor the agreement because they knew that there was only 9 months left. And then they could do what they want, but they'd have to live with themselves the rest of their life. Welcome to my 2010 and 11, and the biggest breakthrough I had. There's all kinds of stuff, and it's not about me, and it's not about that. It's about you and how you have a story. And over here in my other screen is someone that was impacted by this story. And I love the story of this story. That's why I wrote it, because it's the best one yet. And there was someone else that bought both of those books on New Year's and was reading them. What are you doing right now that is leaving? This is 2012 and this is 2016. Yeah, that's right. Now, this was like a year ago and some change, but the point is, once you do it, it keeps paying dividends. Whether it's book sales, royalties, new clients, new customers, people impacted, people more inspired, whatever it is, the story hasn't changed. I'm telling you the story live now, but this takes a lot more energy and time. And I can't exactly just hand it to you to read on a plane. Hi, Anelia. And I can't have it to you, when you come to my next presentation. Jael, Shara, Nancy, Tom. I remember everyone. And that is a wonderful thing. You can take your message and put it into people's hands, whatever your message is. But my question is, are you doing it, and what are you doing with your story? I'm going to check the comments real quick. I'm going to have a sip of my drink, and we're going to wrap this up. What are you doing with your story? It's a new year. It's a new chapter. If you were writing a book right now, every month was a chapter, would it be a bestseller? And would anyone want to read it? Ooh, this water's from Iceberg. So let's double check this. Comment. Go over here. Do me a favor, if you're here and you have a comment, there's like 5 places this is syndicated to, 5 or 6. Just hit something to make something appear on the screen, because I don't want to miss anyone, and I'm checking all the places this could be appearing to the best of my ability. I'm looking here, and it looks like there's a reaction. Very, 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 very good. You do not underestimate the sneakiness, no? Who knows what that's from? I think we're good. Right on schedule. Got 3 more minutes. I love this. Get to do what I love and help people. Like, what a blessing. If you don't get this in on time, I do have to run. I do check it. It's a beautiful thing about Facebook. It's a beautiful thing about doing stuff live. It's a beautiful thing about doing it on video. Good suggestion, you think? You can always come back to it. I can't tell you the countless number of times I've come back to my own stuff. As a matter of fact, the thing I've been talking about and where I got quoted, I would love to know what chapter that was from. I don't remember. I wrote a lot. The whole book was done in 5 days. But it's good stuff, and I remember saying it. Just don't know where it's at. So leave your comment below. Like and share this. I will also say, brand new, hit the subscribe button, hit the register button, and as always, follow the Facebook page here. Facebook.com/Mario Ficini fan. I'm going to be bringing to you the Expert Authority Challenge, Day 3. For the next 365 days. I'm excited about it. Helping 1,000 people reach 1,000 people. I know I can do it. But my question is, do you believe you can do it? And I hope the answer is yes. And I look forward to helping you. And if the answer is no, I'm not sure, talk to me. I'm willing to bet the answer is still yes. You just have some of the uncertainty that I used to have. And I really do love giving you the transformation and breaking you through that, because here's the deal. All of the stuff I'm talking about right now, I'm giving to you complimentary, and I'm giving my best stuff so that way you don't have to suffer looking around, trying to figure out, should I follow this, should I not? because I know there's a lot of crap out there and I don't like it. I've been fallen victim to some of it too, and I don't like that. I'm giving you my best. I do have an 8-week masterclass that you do have to invest in. And it's a pretty good investment because you're worth it, and so am I. And that's the 8-week masterclass. But the thing about it is that's not for everyone. And I don't want everyone. You have to apply and then qualify and then behave and actually do the work. And you have to pay. Money doesn't impress me anymore. Everyone has it. So, are you really a good person? Do you have a good heart? Do you have a good message? Do you really want to help people? I'm going to be giving you all the tools and resources to do so on your own. If you don't want it to take as long and want my help, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here, and that's a blessing. So, Expert Authority Challenge, follow the hashtag, like the page, subscribe on YouTube. I think I covered everything. Instagram, Pinterest, just follow all of it. It's all at Mario Ficini or at Mario Ficini Fan. Pinterest, Google. And I have other free resources. Comment below. Let me know what you're looking for. I have it. If not, the only thing I wouldn't have yet is the audiobook, and it's being worked on. So other than that, I think we're good. I'm encouraging you to do the same because you can affect thousands and thousands of people's lives. But I do realize that it's also a big ask, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, which is good. So if your heart's beating, if you're a little bit more excited than you were 29 minutes ago, then good. This is not the year for comfort. This is not the year for sitting still. This is the year for making our dreams happen. I look forward to helping you in the process and seeing you on the stages of the world. Have a great night, and God bless.